So, so we're in the basement of my house, and this is my root cellar. And they say that dirt door is the way to go. So I've got all these storage units for rice, soybean, all the different grains. Then I've got vegetables and meats in here, and I've got a pot back here full of rot, which you can turn into compost, which is a type of soil you can farm in. So I focus mainly on flax, and so as you can see, I might have a little bit more flax grain than what I really want. But having the flax strands, there's no such thing as enough. Anyway, so I've got shelves up here. You can put your crock pots up on here. They stack four on each one of these blocks, two on this side, and then same on top. And I've done the cooking, but I find that I have so much food I never come back in to eat the crops or the food out of the crock pots, so it just sits there and goes to waste. So this stairway takes me down to my passage that is well over 3,000 blocks long, heading directly south. I built this because I hate bopping up and down the terrain and bopping up and down the terrain. It just kind of doesn't do good for my head. So I built this, and as you can see, you can roll along it and do all kinds of things. And somewhere in here, I found some precious mineral to dig out of the ground. And in this cave, I have exits, or in this tunnel, I should say. I've got exit points along the way. So if you get to a spot you want to get out and do something with, there's a nice spot. I usually have these waypointed. Must have done this one before I started tagging them. But anyways, you get out and you're quite a ways back from home, but nowhere near as long as where this tunnel actually takes you. We keep going down this for I don't know how many minutes it takes to get to the end, but that's kind of what that tunnel's about. So here we're back in my actual home proper. There's my bed, and I've got the aged wooden bed, which is the best bed in the game. It lets you sleep up to 9.5 hours. And I got a wooden chest here that has my cooking equipment in it. So I've got cooking pots and bowls, and then of course crock pots that you put your finished meals in. Then I've got 5 fire pits. I don't use all 5 very often, but I'd seen somebody put their fire pits up on these polished rocks, and I thought that was a pretty nice look. So I probably going to just use these guys. And these are ugly and don't look nice or whatever, but they're there when I need them. That's great. And I've got some firewood, some logs in here inside the house, and then I've got quite a stack of peat. And then this is kind of the smithing area where I've got my crucibles and got my charcoal in there, some of the finished ingots, some molds, stuff to build the units that you've got to fire all that stuff in, and then a couple of forges and tool rack. Oh yeah, there we go. There's my hammer. Can't see real. So there's a tin bronze anvil, which you need to use. There's a stack of copper ingots, and this is my panning area. I originally made this just for panning, so I've got me a water source here, because you have to be standing in the water to do panning. And so I keep my pan here. Let's see what I've got for inventory space. I got a little bit of space here. It's just for fun. Let's demonstrate panning here. Panning is a great early game mechanism. lets you get copper, all kinds of neat things. You can even get a temporal gear, which is what you need in order to be able to reset your spawn point. Otherwise you go back to where you initially spawned in the game. So you place your sand within arm reach, and then I have the panning, what do they call it, a wooden pan in my hand, and so you just do a right click and that fills your pan with the material, and you just do right click again. A lot of videos, and you probably used to have to do this, look down at the water when you're panning. You don't have to do that anymore. You can just point where you're at and just stay there. You just have to be in the water. So let's see, I don't think we've gotten anything out of this sandstone yet, because if we did, it'd fill up that slot on my taskbar with something. I've never panned sandstone before, so I have no idea if it's any good. Okay, so we just got a flint arrowhead, that's what that is, and that just came from the sand that we've been sifting. The best panning material that I have found is the bone soil. You get that from the ruins that you find around in the world, and you dig them up and you find that. So we've got a flint stone, and we got a sandstone stone. Nothing very exciting right now. This is a really good, we got a piece of copper. This is a really good nighttime activity, especially when you first start, because you don't have any armor, you can't see worth a darn because you don't have great lights. And this is just something you can do at night to help while away the time till morning comes, and yet you're still being productive. Alright, well that'll be enough of that. So that's panning. Oh, gotta put my pan away, that's what I'm looking for. Put stuff back in the same place every time and off you go. So you get copper arrowheads, you get all kinds of stuff, but you also get, you get flint arrowheads, you also get copper arrowheads, and you also get flint and copper spearheads. I've thrown away all the flint spearheads and everything because I've got more stuff for spears than I can possibly stand. Let's put these guys away. Got to take care of your inventory. Put that in there. Put the copper back up in there. Let's grab this piece of bread here. I'll eat that, and that'll pretty much take me to full on my food bar. Alright, so obviously we can see here I've got lots of storage, and these ones with the icon on them and a number, these are a mod called Better Crate, we can see up at the top center, and it allows you to stack stuff in there and really nicely just see what's in there without having to do much of anything. You can just look and see what stuff is. Then I've got the original wooden crates, but these are signed, labeled chests is what they are. So when you make it, you get to put a label on it, and then you can use some chalk like I have up here, or any other pigment material, and then you can write on the labels. So I've got, you know, logs in here, got all kinds of metal stuff. These are cobblestone skulls. You can see the skull faces chiseled into them. Bandages and other things. Horsetail for making bandages. Found these cool chandeliers in a dungeon down in the caves. Got some spider webs that cause things to be slowed down, saplings to plant trees with. Keep my animal fat and hides up in here. The animal fat is what's used to make these oil lamps. You just make a bowl and then you put fat in it and off you go. This is a little armor stand, so there's an extra chest piece for me. And this is just made out of linen, which I make using my flax seeds. And this is just a straw dummy. You put them out when you're doing your beekeeping so that when you harvest the hive, the bees go and sting him instead of you, hopefully. A picture I found somewhere, and tapestry out of a dungeon somewhere. And of course more storage here, more storage here. I got my quern here. Got some aged wooden tables with some seashells sitting on them. Wooden crate that's closed. Got my wooden buckets for doing water and a barrel to soak things in. Out in the desert you can find these bony cow skulls, even though cows aren't in the game. You can find their skulls, and it's just a decorative thing. And you can see I've got the clear glass, but it's nighttime out there, so you can see my farm sticking out the window over there. So that's south. So in the morning we've got some really beautiful sunshine coming through here. I've got 3 doors in here, one exiting out that way, one up here, and one back here. The regional base used to end here, and then I put this place to do panning out here, and it was actually a separate building, but I finally just made them all part of the same building. And we'll wait till sunlight before I show you the outside. Yeah, you can see this sunrise that's starting to take place out here. Sun's coming up over there in the east, as it should. So it's just the outside of my building. It's as plain and absolute boring as can possibly be, but it does absolutely everything I need it to. So of course you can see Robert's done his thing, grinding away at mountains and stuff, terraforming. Let's put my lantern away and see what it looks like, so there's no influence from that. So this is just all the natural lighting. Absolutely gorgeous looking sunrise. So this is the south end, so I've got a little bit of an overhang over everything. I don't need that to keep these oil lamps going. They're just permanently lit. Torches will go out in the rain, and your fire pit will go out in the rain if it isn't covered. Here's some more supply of logs for, firewood, I guess I should say. There's the carcass of a wolf that I killed that fell down into my charcoal pit. And so, yeah, that's my charcoal pit. You can make lots of charcoal. And here's my flower garden. Putting that together, you got to have a bunch of flowers when you do when you're doing the beekeeping. And so this is really just a place for me to hold my flowers until I decide where I want to do beekeeping and actually go in and capture some bees. You can see I've got another outbuilding here that is just absolutely chock full of peat. Peat is a lot more valuable resource than one might imagine from the beginning. Let's slide on over here and see what's going on with this sunset. It looks like it's going to be an overcast day. So while it started off pretty down there at the bottom, it's gone. Sun's gone up and into the mist. Uh-oh, I fell down into my animal trap. Oh, look, I've got animals here now too. Cool. These poor bunnies, they can't jump over my trough. I put a trough down here, which is how you feed your animals that you're trying to domesticate. Throw this guy a couple of carrots. It's the first time I've seen him. Walk up my stairs and into my beautiful garden. This garden is big enough that if I start pulling all the weeds, which is picking up the grass and the horsetail out of here. By the time I get done cleaning it, I already have more stuff that it's already popped up. And right now, the only thing I have growing that uses the nutrients out of the soil is my cabbage, and everything else is just sitting fallow. You got to do that to let the dirt pick back, get its nutrients back, so that you can grow your crops again. So here I most recently grew flax, and so that uses K. And so if we look at the upper top center there, you'll see that K is depleted down to 25.5%. That's actually up quite a bit. It gets down pretty much down to the single digits by the time I get around to harvesting the crops, and so all of this soil here is low on K. The time before that I grew it on these plots out here. You can see that it's almost fully recovered. Growing time is up to 90, which is max, but the K nutrient is not back. And this soil here is all ready to go, so I'm going to be planting another massive plantation of flax. Flax is my most important crop, again, because it gives me the flax fibers. So as you can see, I have a lot of flax seeds. It allows me to, well, each of these plots is 64 long by 4. No, they're 32 long by 4, so it takes 128 seeds to fill this, and so I can plant, with this quantity of flax seeds, I can plant 4 full plots with just flax. So that's nice. And then early game, life and death depends, it begins and ends with berry bushes, and so I've collected all kinds of berry bushes, and right now I have so much food that isn't berries that I'm literally not doing anything with my berry bushes. But I do have some other bases that I need to put bushes out at, and so I still have more berry bushes that I've collected. Let's just back out a little bit there. So there's other berry bushes, and I've got some berries down at my other locations too. So here are all the vegetables that you can grow. My cabbage is all in the ground, and my pumpkins, I planted those and harvested them, and you don't get seed back from those, so you have to get those from a trader, or usually from a ruined outpost. And then when I'm out here harvesting, my inventory gets so full and I don't want to go run into the house to put everything, so I dump it there. And then before I put these canals in, I had to come out here and water all this. Well, it wasn't this size, but I had to water the soil so that it didn't become infertile and you start having crops die. So those were my watering cans. So we've seen the inside of my house, we've seen my garden, we've seen my cold storage. Here's some trees that I've brought back from the south, kapok trees, and then just more flowers, some bamboo trees that I've brought back, and I've cleared all the soil off of these rocks, either because I needed it for my farm. That farm was a enormous undertaking. I mean, we're talking many real life hours to put that thing together. And I guess I didn't really show you my stairway down, but yeah, that takes me down. So that way takes me down to my 3,000 plus tunnel. There's my cold storage, and then down here I just thought, well, let's dig and see what's below, and ran into a cave, and it had a natural opening up there already, and that doesn't really go anywhere, so I've put stairs all down through here. And then voila, right next to home is a broken Static translocator. I don't know if I have enough uh, uh, of the gears to put it back together. I've got the metal stuff, but I don't have the temporal gears. That's what I don't have to put that back together. But I've got a mod that prevents locusts and drifters from spawning, so I have to get my gears from some other way. And that goes all up in there. You can see this is all well lit. And so then I decided just to dig, and I dug and dug and dug, and I went all the way down to the bottom. You see, we're here changing stones, and changing stones again, and then there. That's what mantle looks like. That's as deep as you can go. You can see on here that we're down to 1 on our coordinates. And then I just dug and dug and dug some more, just because I wanted to see what I'd run into. But as you can see, I wasn't running into anything anytime soon. I kept going and kept going. I really wasn't concerned about anything other than just digging a tunnel till I found something. That's all this was about. It wasn't about getting minerals and everything, but aha! I finally did find something, and it was a nice sized copper deposit that I've just kind of left intact and let you see how these things are formed. The people who made the game, they'll show you some examples that these things form in the shape of discs, and so there's a prime example of what a deposit looks like. It is in fact shaped like a disc. So then I dug on some more, and whoa, what happened there? Well, what happened there is there's lava back there. So I dug up and trying to find where the lava wasn't, or so that I could get out without having lava come onto me. So here's a nice little pool here. You can see we've got stalagmites and stalactites and some stalags, so they've met. So this is what lava looks like in the game. And then just more caving back here, so all this was already formed. And this is what I was digging to find, was stuff like this. But I'll show you the most perhaps amazing thing here. That lake of lava. That's what you don't want to fall into, and that's what you don't want to have to drain on your head. And as you can see, we're not down at bedrock, we're at level 12 here. And so I've dug out all the way around here, made it so there's room to walk, and I've lit it up. Not that it needed lighting, but it's lit up over at the edges now. And so found some nice deposit here, and there's just all kinds of things around. We had a waterfall coming down here, but it was getting in the way. I bet if I put my lantern on, we could actually see what's going on. So just a place that had things that I dug out to get to whatever it was I was after. So that's pretty much it. I've explored lots and lots and lots of my world, and there's the lava source over there, which I left intact. I just dug around it and left enough to get up on top of it, and that's it. You can see it's got some transparency, a little opaque. Just pretty cool stuff. Well, that's it for my tour. Thanks for watching.